Today I'm going to show you how to install Mac OS onto an external hard drive like this and use it as your main hard drive from your Mac Mini. So you won't be using the hard drive from the Mac Mini itself, and because of that you'll be saving yourself some money for when you sell it. It'll be like you're selling it brand new, because you have to remember the RAM never gets worn out, but the SSD will and can get worn out. It's only 256 gig. This is going to be 2 terabytes. So now you may have seen other websites saying you have to go to this website, download this and that. No, that's too complicated. From here on in, all you have to do is get yourself the USB and an external hard drive. That's all you need. Then we download the iOS from the App Store. No going to weird websites. These are the 3 things you need. And if you're still sitting on the fence about whether to do this or not, I'm going to give you 3 very, very good reasons why you should be doing this. Now, if you're not sitting on the fence, then just go to part 2 where I show you the best materials, i.e. these. And these are the coolest and cheapest materials that you'll ever need to use. Now in part 3, I'm going to show you how to install it. It's going to take 90 minutes. It's going to take 30 minutes to download the iOS. It's going to take 30 minutes to put it on this USB stick, and then it's going to take another 15 minutes to install it onto the hard drive. And then probably 15 minutes pottering around, putting in your data. So overall, give yourself about 90 minutes. Now, if you are still sitting on the fence about that, I'm going to give you 3 most important reasons why you need to be doing this now. Reason 1, you probably only have 256 gig or 500 gig like me. I've got 250. Of all the hard drives, you're only allowed to use 80%. So that means your 250 is now only 200 gigs. And probably 50 gig of that is in the software. Your 500 gig is now only 400 gigs. So that's why you need to do this. Now, memory swapping is also another thing that happens where the SSD is written to because you only have 8 gigabytes of memory. I only have 8 gigabytes. And I have noticed on some applications it runs smooth, but it is using the SSD. So that's going to wear it out faster. And that's not a good thing, because once the SSD dies, your computer dies. So that's the second reason. Now, the third reason, the most important reason, is take a look at this diagram. Over here you can see this is the internal SSD. Now it seems to be running faster, but remember these are read and write speeds. These are speeds you read when you're transferring data from one disk to another, which is why you don't want to be using it as an external, because here you see it runs a bit slower. However, what you have to remember is the SSD in and of itself is super fast. In the past, old CDs used to run at, SSDs would run at 300 megabytes a second. These are running at 900. And remember, if you're swapping a file from one drive to another, yeah, you need it to be fast. But you're not doing that. You're actually writing the file in the software, in the computer, and then moving it to another document folder. So instead of moving to another hard drive, which might take 5 minutes of 100 gig, this will take you 5 seconds, 0.5 seconds, because it's in the same system. That's another reason why you should be doing this. And have a look at the other data, that it runs even faster and smoother because of that. Take a look here. I was rendering a 2 gigabyte video and it took 10 minutes on the internal SSD of the Mac Mini. Here, using the external, it took 6 minutes. That's using the external as a Mac Mini. The same again, I used Handbrake, 5 gigabyte film to 17 megabyte. It was crushed down. It took 5 minutes, almost 6. On the hard drive, it took 3 minutes, or should we say 350. So there's a difference almost of 50% in speed. So let's move over to part 2 where we show you the best resources to buy for this operation. So here, as you can see, you need to get an M.2 NVMe drive. These are the fastest ones available. You can see here the read and write speeds are 7 gigabytes or 6 gigabytes. Sure, you're not going to get that, but what it does show you is that this is going to be it's going to work to the best of its capabilities. In addition to that, you need to put it in a box. Now, I've chosen the Icy box 20 gigabyte speed. Now, I could have chosen, as you see here, I could have chosen this 10 gigabyte speed, and it runs at the same speed as the 20 gigabyte. The difference is this one runs very hot, and you don't want that, especially if you're going to be using it all day. This one runs as cool as ice, which is the name on the box. And as you can see, this is only $50. In addition to that, I did buy this cable, which is USB 4, and it's the fastest cable, and it just gave me that little bit of extra speed. What I mean by that is, if you look back here, notice there's 2 red X's here, 2 here. Well, with the cable that comes with the box, I did have another red X up here with the 8K thing, but here with this cable, I've almost got it equally powerful to the one that's in the Mac Mini. Now take a look at this box on the left. I've put a big red X on it because the 40 gigabyte, I tried to use one, and yes, the speed is twice as fast as the internal Mac Mini. However, it is hot to the touch all the time. So much so, it was kind of scary because I want this to be on all day. I don't want it to be on just for transferring some data, which it's useful for. But you don't need that speed because, like I said before, the internal speed is going to be sufficient and faster than even using this as an external transfer drive. So altogether, as you can see, it amounts to about $200, which is the same price as upgrading from 250 gig to 500 gigabyte hard drive in the Apple ecosystem. So that's the materials we're going to use. Now let's move on to part 3, where I show you how to install it. So here we are in our Mac, and remember I told you it's going to take 30 minutes to download the Sequoia. It's going to take another 30 minutes to put it on the USB drive, and then it's going to take another 15 minutes to install it onto the actual SSD. So let's open up the App Store and download the Sequoia. Here it says view, so we're going to view it and then click get. So it's checking for updates, and it says, are you sure you want to download 15.2? That's actually an upgrade from what we have, but yes, we're going to download that. Now it says it's going to take about 30 minutes, like I said. Look, it says 25 minutes, 24 minutes, but I think on average it's about 30 minutes, depending on your internet speed. So I'm going to pause while that goes on, and as an addition, I'm going to also show a little timer here, and I'll just press start so that we can really measure it, because sometimes what happens with the Mac, it says a certain amount of minutes, but it's either longer or shorter depending what happens. So I'm going to pause here and we'll jump to the end. Okay, now you can see it says 22 seconds remaining. So 21 minutes have gone by, 22, not the 30 as proposed earlier. So as you can see, it took less than 30 minutes to download. Now at this juncture, you don't want to press continue. However, you cannot press the red X because there isn't one. You have to go up here and click install Mac OS, and we're going to quit the install. And we're going to quit. Now we do need to install this because it is an actual upgrade for my main drive here, but which I'm not going to use, remember. I'm going to use the external drive. So here it says update tonight, update now, and I will do that later. But what we're going to focus on now is using this file to put it onto the USB stick. So I'm going to close off this, and I'll leave the timer up there because we're going to do some more timing. And if you go to the apps folder, you can see here, install macOS Sequoia. This is our file, and if I show you in the Finder, it's 15 gigabytes. And now I need to put this on my USB, which has the blue end here, which means it's 3.0, and so it'll work fast. You do need that one. Don't use an old USB 2.0. It's going to take forever. This is the one you want. So there you have it. I've put in my SSD. It's called Untitled. If you want to see where it is, you can just go to Finder, scroll down, and there is your Mac Mini, and there is your Untitled pen drive. Now, most of the time, if they're new, they will be exFAT32, so they will fit in the Mac system or the Windows system. We need to format this to be just for the Mac. So type in Command and space, then the word disk, and up will pop disk utility. So we want to go in there. And here you can see this 245 gig, that's our Mac Mini. We don't want to erase that. We want to erase this. Now you notice there's a little bit here. It's almost like a tree. You want to go to the top of the tree. We want to erase all of it. So go over here where it says erase. Now normally, if you're preparing a drive for transfer data, we would leave it like this with the APFS and the GUID partition. But we're going to make this journaled because we're actually going to put the software onto it, the Sequoia software. Also, we need to title it, and I'm going to title mine 32 GB. Simple as that. And then we're going to journalize it. So I'll click erase, and it shouldn't take a few seconds to do that. So now it's done, and this is the part that takes about 30 minutes. Again, we're trying to put the macOS Sequoia onto it. Now to do that, let's close this. We have to get into the terminal. So again, Command space, TERM, and you can see it wants to open the terminal app, and that's what we want to do. So here is the name of my computer, and you have to, I'm just going to raise this a bit. You have to put in a special code, and I'll link that in the description. So I've written here, this is the text you have to put in. And on the right hand side here, where it says 32 gig or 32 GB, that's the name of my USB stick. If your USB stick is like this, if you've left it untitled, then you have to put the word untitled there. So remember to do that. So I'm just going to copy all of this text. Okay, I'll just right click to make sure I copy it. And then here in the terminal, I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to do Command V, and then I'm going to press enter, and it should prepare it for us. It's asking for my password, so I'm going to give it. And you can see it says ready to start. To continue, we need to erase the volume at this place. If you wish to continue, press Y. So I'm going to press Y and enter. Now, once again, I'm going to put our timer on and get rid of this. So get rid of that. And then I'm going to clear this and put our timer on. Yeah, I'm a little late by a minute. You can add that on to the time. Now, already it's raced 100%, but the copying the macOS to it is going to take about 30 minutes. So I'm going to pause here. Okay, so I've just paused it at 34 minutes because as you can see, it's all finalized. And now all we have to do is the next part, which is just a quick 15-minute install into our hard drive. So let's close this out. So now I'm going to be plugging my hard drive. I put the NVMe in there. You can see all the instructions for that with the box. And I'm going to connect it to the Mac Mini or your MacBook, whichever you have. And it arrives at new volume. And now what we have to do is erase this new volume into the Mac system. So in order to do that, once again, Command Spotlight Search, Disk, Utility, and we should be able to find our 2 terabyte hard drive and erase it. So we're going to click Erase, and I'm going to rename it 2TB External. I'll just put Ext. That'll be enough. And we'll leave these parameters, APFS and GU partition, and simply erase the drive. Excellent. That took about a second. So click Done. Don't do this. Just click that off. So the drive is done. And now what we need to do is install it. So you can see here on the right hand side, there's my drive. There's my USB. Now to make it all come together, we're going to have to turn off the system. And then we have to open the system, but not as a restart here. We have to hold the power button for about 20 seconds, maybe 30. The screen will still be black, but after 20 seconds, you can just let go. And then maybe after a minute will appear the image and we can choose to install. So let's do that now. So I'm going to switch off. Okay, so everything's off. And now I'm going over to hold the power button in. I have to get up to do that. Okay, so I held the power button for about 20 seconds and then I let go. So it's not going to start from the old Mac Mini. It's going to give us boot up options. So we've already been waiting at least about 2 minutes. And so we'll see how long we have to wait until it's ready. Here we are. It wasn't that long, like a minute and a minute 30. So there is a bit of a wait. What you have to do now is you can use your arrow key if you don't have a mouse. Just use your arrow keys and make sure you click on Install macOS Sequoia and then click Enter. Now obviously this is me, so I'm going to say yes, click Next, and I have to put my password in. And here it is. So let's click Continue. And we agree. I have read the agreement. Agree. And now here we choose the gold one, the 2 terabyte one. And that's where we're going to install Sequoia. Continue. Click on my face. Install. This is the password. Yes. 4-digit one. And a password again. And I'll use the same one. I think you could use a different one, but I'll just use the same one. And now here is where it says it's going to take I think it says it's going to take about an hour. But I put the timer on because it will not take an hour. It will take 15 minutes, regardless of your internet. It's nothing to do with the internet. It's installing from that USB. So long as you have the one with the blue end, which is 3.0, it will install in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause now and come back in 15 minutes. Okay, so I think that has taken less than 15 minutes because the screen has gone blank, which means it's probably rebooting itself. So don't worry about that. I'll keep it running just to let you know how long it takes even after it has finished installing it and this rebooting time. There we go. So that took about 18 minutes. So I think I can pause that now. So I'll pause that at 18 minutes. So you can see now we can just put in all that information. It'll take about 5 minutes. Maybe I'll time. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but it started saying you can use VoiceOver, blah, 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 to install your Mac. I don't want to do that, but I will continue with the timing just to see overall how long it takes us to get everything done. And continue. And that's it. Let's pause that. So there you have it, 22 minutes to get your Mac up and running and orderly. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. Now what's popped up here is the password to the hard drive that is the original Macintosh one. So if I type that in, so that's the, remember, we haven't got rid of our original Mac. That still exists. You can't see it because all you can see is this one. But if you go up to Finder and Settings, you need to turn on hard disk, all of them. And you see when I did that, over here, the Macintosh has arrived. And note also that if you go to the Finders folder here, my music isn't there. Where's my music? Well, I have to kind of turn them all on because they're not there, even the home one. So now all my folders are there, my music, my movies, my pictures, and they will arrive once I've decided to download them. So remember, what I can do now is I can actually transfer data if I wanted to. I think, oh, this was on my old Mac, the original Mac, from here. So here I still have access to the folders here. So if I go in here, users, Andrew Callister, let's say pictures. Okay, I've got some pictures here. Here's a screenshot. Well, I can actually download this and put it on this Mac. So you can interchange between the two Macs. That is a kind of transfer, but that's not what we've done this for. We've done this so that everything runs from within the 2 terabyte. We don't need that Macintosh. Only unless you forget something you left on it and you want it. We don't need it. So enjoy your Mac, your new Mac, and don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like, and look out for future videos where I'm going to show you all the things that I've learned moving from Windows to here. I really wanted to do everything I can do on Windows on here. It's a little more difficult, but it's just a longer learning curve. But I do feel that if you check out my other video, how I actually was able to install a virtual Windows 11 on here, far easier than ever doing it the other way around. And maybe I'll migrate and have both systems all working from my Mac. Because also there's a way you can install Windows programs on this. Yes, there is. I couldn't believe it worked, but you can't do it the other way around. So watch out for my future videos. See you on the next video.